Hi guys, welcome back to my Python tutorials. Yesterday we talked about the string manipulation, and today I'm going to discuss about the chapter 11, that is a list manipulation. Now string, I hope you must have gone through that video. Kindly go through the video again and again and like the video also, so that you will come to know the new arrival of my video. Today, under the list manipulation, chapter 11 of your computer science, I have a certain objectives like introductions, then the creating and accessing the list operations, working with the list, and list functions and methods. These are the objectives of today. Listen carefully. List, as you all know, there are certain data types in Python, and list is one of the fundamental data type. Again, like a string in Python, a string was also the one of the data type, and list is another type of data type in Python that generally again presented or represented in the square bracket. This bracket we generally use for the list. Now if I'm mentioning anywhere in the Python there's two brackets, it's an empty list. This is also the way a list can be created. So list is one of the fundamental data type that allows to store any sorts of data separated by comma within this square bracket. This is what the introduction or list is. So if I have need to store more than one element of a different kind, I can use the list. Now list is a mutable data type in Python. A string was immutable. In case of a string, you cannot replace a character at a particular position, but in the case of list, since it's a mutable, you can replace any element of the list. So list is one of the fundamental mutable data type in Python which can be represented in the square bracket, and this symbol we generally use to create a list. This is what the introduction part of the list. I hope this definition must be very clear to you now. Now the creating and accessing the list. Now how to create a list in Python? To create a list in Python, there are different methods we are using. Simply you can use this bracket, it's an empty list. Since no element is there, so it's an empty list. You may have the list like 1, 2, 3. Here you are creating a list of integers. If you are creating a list like 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, it's a list of integers and float. You may have a list of A, B, C, D. It's a list of characters or string. So list of string. Likewise, you can create a list. So once you want to create a list, you simply say a variable name, for example L, equal to open close bracket. You basically created here a list L in Python with an empty list because there is no element. I may create a list with a predefined assignment of the element like 1, 2, 3. Here I have created a list L having the three element 1, 2, 3. So this is how to create a list. In Python, you can create a list also L equal to list method. There is a method called list. This methods help us to create any list in Python. It's again empty list. By the help of list method you can create, simply taking the variable name equal to open and close mid bracket will create a list. And if you want to assign the element at the moment of creation of any list, then the variable name equal to mid bracket, then the element will be separated by comma. It may be any types of data that is available or that is valid in Python. These are the three different way: empty, list with the element, and by the help of list method we can create the list. So I hope the first introduction part of it, list is a fundamental data type that we create in Python to store the different types of elements separated by comma within the square bracket. And to creating a list, we have this method, either the list either the simply open close bracket to the variable name and simply variable name equal to open close bracket, and inside it you can separate the element of different kind with a comma. These are the three different ways to create a list. I hope the creation of the list must be very clear to you all, and the what is list, this all must be very clear. So by the help of list method, I already told you, you can have any again small or long list created. Element of the list can be to any extent, only you have to separate by the comma of different data type within the bracket and the variable name. This is what the list is. Any query? Now list can be created. Another method in the Python, list can be created with the help of a sequence of characters. I hope this must be very clear. I'm rubbing it. Just see, a list can be also created like, by the help of list method, if you are using, you can say L equal to, then the list method, and inside the bracket you can say skpps. Now here basically I am going to create a list by the help of list method with a sequence of characters. So here this L of 0, if you'll see, it will give you S. L of 1, it is again K. Since this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 elements are there. Similar like the string, list element are also indexed from the 0, that is the first alphabets of the list will be at 0 position. So if I am creating a list, basically it will do what? It is creating a list of, you can say L equal to, and then S, K, P, P and S. This kind of list we are creating if we are passing this list method and a string together. At the moment you are using this list method, basically list of such kind will be created in the memory. That is a list again creating with a sequence. If you'll see the just again print command after this, simply print command, and inside the bracket if you'll say L, so this will give you the output as it is, as I mentioned. It will give you the list like this. So this also ways to create a list. Then we have seen the empty list, and simply list open close bracket will create empty list. L equal to open close bracket will create the empty list, and L equal to mid bracket and put the element. That is also the ways to create the list. So I hope this must be very clear to you. So simply your L1 or print L1 will give you the each element of the again separated by comma in a mid bracket. Now the next is we may have a nested list also. Now like a if, like a loop, list inside the list is called nested list. List inside the list is called nested list. If someone is creating a list like L1 equal to 1 comma 2, then again you are saying mid bracket 3 comma 4 mid bracket close, then you are saying 5 comma 6. This is again the list. As you can see here, I am creating a list L1 having the 1 2, then third element itself is a 3 4, fourth element is a 5 and then 6. This itself is a list inside the list. That's why it's called a nest. Then you have to separately again refer the element, which element you want to refer. As you can see 0 1 2, then 2 and 1 and 2 and 2, yeah, 2 0 2 1, because this is again 2 0 2 1. Second list is there, so 0 1, that is a second position itself is there, then the second position 0, so it can be L1 of second and 0 or L1 of second and 1. This will refer this two element of the list. That is how to refer a particular nested list. Is it clear? I hope it must be very clear to you all. Now to access the second again point of this creating part is over. Now if you want to access a particular element of the list, then what you have to do? Just see carefully. If I want to access an element of a list, first just create a list. Suppose L1 equal to, and I have created a list A, E, I, O and U. This is the list element. suppose I have created. So there are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Index of the list element is similar like the string that we had already learned. Now if you want to refer, if someone will say L of 0, what he or she will get? Simply he will get the A, because A is there at that. If we'll say L of or L1 of suppose 4, it will give you the last again alphabet, that is U. So each element of the list can be referred by a particular index position, and you have to refer that also. Positively means left to right, it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it is a -4, or sorry, -1, -2, -3, -4 and -5. This is how to refer a particular list. So if I'll say print command, print, and then inside the bracket if I'll say L of -1, it will give you what? U as an alphabets. If we'll say simply print, and inside the bracket if you'll say L1 of, and then in mid bracket if you're saying -2, so it will give you what? O. O will be the alphabet. And this is how to refer a particular element or access a particular element of a list. Either the negative value and positive value depend on what element are there at that position, it will give you. Here in the case of -1, from the right to left it is again swapping, and -1 makes a U. That's why you'll get the U. And because positive means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the left to right index, and the last element is always there to the -1, and the first will be the last length of it. You can find out the length of any string similar like how you got the length of a string. So anywhere you can say L equal to len of L1. Now L1 is a list name. Simply it will give you the length of list, and in this case it is 5. So L will get the 5. Now once I am knowing the length of the list, I can traverse the each and every element of the list. Now how to traverse a particular element or each element of the list? Suppose a list is there, L2 equal to, and inside it there is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the elements suppose, and you want to just access the each element of the list. Simply you can say for I in, and then you can say L2. For I in L2 means I is a variable name, in is again operator, and L2 is the list name, then colon as it's a for loop, and inside it simply you can say print, and inside the bracket you can say L2 of I, or simply L2. Reason we had already taken the L2, so each element of the L2 will come to the I, and if you'll say simply I, it will give you the output. Are you getting? L2 is my list where we have an element 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I said for I in L2, it means each element of the L2 will come to the I, and elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So first occurrence of this for loop, I may having the 1, and once you'll say print I, it will give you 1, then again it will give you 2, again it will give you 3, again it will give you 4, again it will give you 5. Reason, this directly again I refer the each element of L2 into the I. Another ways, if you want to refer by another way, say L2 is a list. Now you can say L equal to len of L2. Now in this case you are finding the length of L2 and putting in the L. Now after this you can use the for loop for I in range. Now I'm using the range operator, and I'm saying 0, L. L is my length of the L2, that is total are 6. So 0 to 6 means it will go to 0 to 5. In this case, if I'm using the print command to see the each element, then I have to say print, and inside the bracket I have to say the list name, that is L2, and then mid bracket and I, because now I is referring a particular index. Mind it, these two examples are different. Here directly I am referring the each element of L2 into the I. That's why I had given print I, and it will show me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in this example, to traverse each element of the list, I just again found the length of L2 and stored in the L, and then I'm using for I in range 0, L. L is a length of this list is 6, as you all can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So L is basically having 6 as a value, and once you said I in range 0 to 6 indirectly, because L is 6, so it will go 0 to 5, because the last index minus 1, that is how for loops works. And print L2. L2 is a list name. Mid bracket I means we are referring the index position of it, and index position of that will be 0 to 6 or 0 to 5. So first L2 of 0, it will give you what? 1. Then again L2 of 1, it will give you 2. Then again, because this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 4, and likewise. So it will go till 0, from 0 to 5, and you will get the each element of it. This is how to refer or how to traverse a particular list. Either directly you can, or you can find out the length of any sorts of element that you having in a list by just len method and use a loop. Use it from 0 to that length, and then simply use the print command with the list name and in mid bracket that index position of it. That is how to traverse all elements of a list, and creating a list, accessing list, this part you have seen. And what the list is, that is also over. Now list operation. Now list operators, whatever you have learned in the case of like a plus, like a star, like a in or not in, these all operators are there of the string that you had already seen in the list also. So if I'll say L1 plus L2, basically it will add the all element of the list 2 with the list 1, and it will give you the combination of L1 plus L2. So simply you can add a list by using the plus operator. Is it clear? If you'll say L1 star, L1 is a list, and you will say star 3. So all the element of the list 1 will be repeated 3 times like a star does. It will simply again repeat the element of the L1 first to last, then again first to last, then again first to last 3 times. That is what it is. If you say, if you want to check a particular element, 1 in L1, and L1 is the list, 1 in L1, and if 1 is element, it will give you true since it's there. And you can say 1 not in L1, not in L1, it will give you false because 1 is there. And this is how to use the in and not in operators in the list. Plus to concat, to add any 2 lists or more than 2 lists, you can simply say, I can also say L3 equal to L1 plus L2. Here I am basically creating a list L3 having the all element of L1 plus L2. So it will first add the L2 into the L1 and then stored in the L3. If you see the output of L3, it will show you basically all element of the L1 followed by the L2. That is what L3 is. And a star simply again repeat the occurrence of any list that many times. Either you can use the 2 star L1 or L1 star 2, meaning is same, mind it, because it's a multiplication operator. It will simply multiply the occurrence of that list that many times. So this is what operation you can perform on the list. Any query if you have, you can let me know later. So this is how to again perform the different sorts of operation on list. Now, if you'll find out the differences between list, and sometimes the questions can be what the basic difference between list and string. So first and foremost, the difference between list and string, both are the data type in Python, fundamental data type Python, but a string is a immutable data type in Python and list is a very mutable data type in Python. First and foremost difference. It means in list we can change the individual element position, but in a string it is not possible. I hope this must be very clear. In a string, a particular element position cannot be changed, but in the list you can change. How to change the list particular position? You can simply say L, suppose this list is L2, L2. Here already there it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these are element. So L2 of 1, and I want to say 20. once I said L2 of 1 equal to 20, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to change the second element of this list, that is a 2 with a 20. Now, if you'll say the print command, or simply at the command prompt you'll say L2, print L2 will give me what? 1, 20, 3, 4, 5, 6. What you've seen, the 2 has been replaced with the 20 because directly I said L2 of 1 equal to 20. This is how to change the particular element position or particular element value in the list. So list is very mutable and a string is immutable. First and foremost difference between both data type. Otherwise rest is traversing in the list and traversing in the string is the same. Reverse directions you can also do, and from left to right, right to left, you can reverse similar like the string. Each element you can refer of a string also and also list also. You can add the to a string and you can add the to list also, like as you have seen L1 plus L2. So there is no difference.